Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk very much about how to turn correctly in the backswing position and how that is going to definitely give you much more distance. Now, I meet golfers on a day-to-day basis, and many of them, and I bet there's many of you guys that are going to be watching this video, have very much the wrong idea of the backswing position. And I understand why. When we look at a professional golfer and we freeze at the top of the backswing, you can see the way that the upper body always looks like it finishes over that trail side. However, there's a big difference between actually what's happening here, which is what we're going to explain very much in this video, because I meet lots of golfers who try and do things like turn in the backswing position, turn their shoulders, and all it does is it moves them excessively off the golf ball, and it also encourages them to stand very much up in the backswing position. So first things first, we need to understand a couple of movements. I'm going to use my large alignment stick here just so you guys can visually see it. Now, the first thing is that needs to happen is, can you see the way I'm going to do two movements here? I'm going to keep my head still and I'm going to shift my pelvis from right to left. So you can see the way I'm just moving my pelvis to my right side, moving it to my left side, right side, left side. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm keeping my legs nice and flexed, like so, and I'm keeping my head still. And what we should notice is when I'm doing this is the way that as long as my pelvis moves this way to my right and my head stays still, it produces a tilt. Okay, now we need these tilts. These tilts are going to be really important movements in this golf swing position. Okay, so what needs to happen in the backswing is a couple of things. As we start to take the club back in the takeaway move, the pelvis, okay, my lower body, has to progressively start to make its way over towards my right leg. Okay, and if I do that, you can see the way that my head can stay still, my weight shift can move towards the right side, and you can also see the way that it helps my shoulders start to initiate a little bit of a tilt. And this is a very common move that we see with professional golfers in the takeaway. What amateurs do is this. This is when you start thinking you've got to turn your shoulders as opposed to understanding you're trying to keep your head still and shift your pelvis a little bit more towards the right hand side as you initiate that backswing position. That's key stage number one. Key stage number two is once you feel that little bit of a shift, then we do want to turn, okay? So as I shift my pelvis towards that trail side, as I then turn, what we can now start to see is the way that we've created these nice tilted angles. So as I now complete my rotation, this gives me the ability to keep my head nice and still. And it creates also a movement which is known as left side bend. And what this means is you can see the way that my spine is slightly bent, so my shoulders are pointing very much downward. So it's understanding those couple of key principles here, that what we need to do is we need to turn this, but we need to let it shift a little bit to our trail side very much first. As we shift it and we turn it whilst keeping our head still, that's what's going to give us that correct rotation. Now, that will get me to about here. As you watch now, as I keep turning, now we can start to see the way that I sequence my backswing like we've discussed in this video. So I have a little bit of a shift, okay, and then I start to progressively turn. And then as I complete that rotation, then we can see the way that we end up in that very iconic professional looking backswing position. Now, you don't have to turn all that way. As I've said in previous videos, if you're happy just turning 80 degrees, 85 degrees, that's fine. But if you want to maximize that full turn, then that's how you're going to look this way. And that's exactly what you need to understand. So how you're going to hit the golf ball further is by understanding that in this backswing position, we need to allow this pelvis to move more to the right as we then allow it to turn into the leg whilst keeping the head still. And this is going to create those spine angles, which will help us lift our arms up in the air and hit very much down on the back of the golf ball and eliminate that idea of just immediately turning in the backswing position. Hopefully this video helps you out. Definitely go through those drills because those are the things that I do with students all of the time. I'll see you soon.